August 23rd, 2001. That is the day one of my favorite video game franchises was born. Created by a man who had previously made one of the greatest horror games of all time, this game featured combat that had never before been seen in a video game. Combining the skill-based inputs from fighting games with hack-and-slash gameplay, this game practically created its own subgenre within action games. January 25th, 2003. That is the day one of my favorite video game franchises was almost killed as quickly as it had been born. Made with none of the original game's developers, this sequel misunderstood everything that made the original game great. In the last 4 to 5 months of development, a new director was brought in as a last-ditch effort to salvage the project. But ultimately, it was a lost cause. February 17th, 2005. That is the day that same director apologized. This third entry in the series not only brought it back to its roots, but it refined everything about the first game to a sheen. Tons of new weapons, the introduction of styles that allowed for multiple types of play, and a story that hits on an emotional level the series hadn't really seen before. To top it all off, this game was also the one that finally found what would become the definitive voice and personality for the franchise's iconic main character. To this day, many people believe this game to be the best in the series.
This party's getting crazy. Let's rock.
But now, 14 years later, the franchise is not what it once was. January 31st, 2008. That is the day a fourth entry in this franchise, again directed by the same man as the last two, released in an unfinished state. While the core gameplay was the best the series had ever seen, the entire latter half suffered from the game being rushed out the door. Having two main characters that played very differently, they needed both enemies and levels that made use of each character's unique movesets. But, due to time constraints, only one of them got this. The latter was stuck with retreading the previous levels and fighting enemies that weren't made with their combat capabilities in mind, ruining what was, up to that point, a solid new entry in the franchise. While still a great game in its own right, as a follow-up to the phenomenal third, it fell short. January 15th, 2013. That is the day a reboot of the franchise was released to a very mixed reception. While critics praised the game, many fans derided it for a plethora of reasons. From the horrible PR nightmare that was the director's response to fan backlash, to the new take on one of gaming's most iconic characters,
Fuck you!
Fuck you!
to the restrictive color-coded gameplay, the reboot ultimately failed to live up to fans' expectations and the publisher's sales expectations. And that was it! Outside of an enhanced re-release of both the fourth entry and the reboot that added 3 brand new characters to the former and fixed the problems of the latter, the franchise received nothing for 6 years. It had been 10 since we had last seen the version of these characters fans had come to know and love. But sadly, it seemed as if it was all dead in the water. June 10th, 2018.
They're demons! I've seen them with my own eyes! Red Grave is completely taken over!
Let us pray for mercy. This is a trial from the heavens above.
It was back. While speculation had gone on for months, it was finally confirmed that the original version of the series was alive and well, with the 5th game releasing within a year. And despite a few PR hiccups during the wait, the game released to critical acclaim from both critics and fans. Many even claim that the third entry had been dethroned as the best in the series. But what ultimately made this game as good as it is the same thing that made the third game what it was. Coming off of the disastrous second entry, the third had much to prove. It had to prove that the series wasn't a one-hit wonder, and that the second game was just a fluke. The 5th entry, however, not only had to prove that the series wasn't dead, but that it had leagues of potential just waiting to be tapped. It had to make up for not just one, but 2 games worth of mishaps, as well as the 10-year-long wait for a proper continuation. And it did so in spades. 3 fully playable characters, each who play incredibly differently, and one of whom was a brand new, experimental way of playing an action game. Each character had levels built around what they were capable of. Even in missions where you had to pick who to play as, each one had their own version of the level that made replaying as someone different a new experience. Both new and old enemy types were created or rebuilt with all 3 characters in mind. There is even a system where you get paired up with other players who are playing as someone else, and you can team up to take out enemies, or you can just watch them kick ass in the distance. Even beyond the gameplay, the game is arguably the ultimate in fan service. The story features almost every important character in the series while adding a brand new fan favorite. While the plot isn't exactly a phenomenal work of storytelling, for those who care about these characters, it's the culmination of everything the series has unknowingly been building towards. Drawing from the first, third, and fourth games in the series, as well as introducing elements from various expanded universe works such as novels, manga, and the anime, the 5th entry is everything a fan could have hoped for. Even the various special editions of the game had just as much effort put into them. The Collector's Edition, which came with a model of the in-game RV, a fantastic art book, and a pen that I personally really love, is fairly high quality and was worth the price to a die-hard fan like me. Meanwhile, the Deluxe Edition included content such as useful but not game-breaking Devil Breakers, an alternate weapon skin, and live-action cutscenes that they really didn't need to include, but oh my god, I am so grateful that they did. This game was more than just a new entry in the series. Rather, it was a celebration of it. A rallying cry that claimed,
DMC is back!
March 8th, 2019. That is the day Hideaki Itsuno apologized. Hey there, I'm Macca. This is Jack's back on Macca. Thank you for watching this video. I worked hard on it. This was a passion thing. I fucking love DevilMayCry and Hideaki Itsuno. I've seen some people talking about it, and he is just a master at apologizing. I don't think I've seen a man or any game dev at all who, whenever they have to make up for something, they churn out an amazing game every time he has to make up for something. I just wanted to thank him. This whole video is just showing my appreciation for him, and I thank you for watching this. And yeah, before I go, I just wanted to shout out a friend of mine who also did a DMC5 video. He's called The Game Shelf, and it's a DMC5 review. So if you enjoyed this video, a little editorial thanking Itsuno and just talking about just how amazing he is at apologizing, but you want something that's a bit more of a review of just going over everything, as well as some comedy in there, go check out his video. He does good stuff. He does good stuff. Anyway, this has been Jack's Back on Macca. I am Macca. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe. Let me know what you think of DMC5 in the comments, and just what you hope Itsuno does next, whether it be a DMC 6, Dragon's Dogma 2, or I don't know, something else completely new. All I know is that he is one of the best directors they currently have at Capcom, and they better keep him, because according to Ruben Langdon, he almost left. Yeah, so much for I like the reboot. I'll see you guys next time for whatever the hell it is I do next.